1 is with the item deals with public submissions. Ms. Nicolette van Zyl presented a report, an executive summary of the public submissions, which had recommendations on what the approach of the committee should be with regard to those public submissions. Further than that, she made the whole report available, and we agreed that because the report was voluminous, members will have time during the festive to read the report at their own time and at their own pace. So when we were preparing for this meeting, I requested her to come and present the recommendations, especially on those matters that may have to be scheduled for appearance before the committee. The reason why this item should be number 1 is because when we come to deal with the report on consultations and the proposed timetable of appearance, the committee would at that stage be knowing how many matters from the public submissions may have to be added on the timetable. And so what that means, Advocate Arensen, Advocate Mokhwaitz, Advocate Mukize, what that means is that if the committee agrees with the recommendation that the following matters must appear before the committee, it then means the timetable of appearances may have to be amended to accommodate those matters emanating from public submissions. And once Ms. van Zyl has presented item number 1, which is the recommendations on public submissions, then the second item will be the report on consultations from the senior counsel and his team. We agreed last year on the names of Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, General Patlani, Mr. Julius Mukwadasi from Ekurhuleni, Mr. Robert McBride, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, and Brown Mokgotsi as the 6 key witnesses that have to be consulted during the time when Parliament was rising. We will get a report on how many of those witnesses have been successfully consulted and how many are outstanding and when will the consultations be concluded. And when we deal with these witnesses, I want members to also remember that when we went to Hosi Mampuru, we had 2 generals from the SAPS, General Musikidi and General Kosi Sintumu. General Musikidi was not available at that time because he was leading the team that was coordinating the G20 security processes. And General Sintumule at that time was abroad. And my understanding and recollection of the decision of the committee was that because the statement of General Musikidi was very short and that she was also acting at the time, she wouldn't have played much of a role in the matters that are being investigated within the realm of our terms of reference. And that in the event members may want to probe her statement, that can be done through written questions, which she can then provide written responses. I'm putting this matter before the committee so that if I'm wrong in terms of my understanding, the committee members can correct me and provide a way forward on how the statement of, because she cannot make any other statement unless if members have questions that they may want to raise with her, or members want her to appear before the committee. And then the same was going to happen with General Kosi Sintumule, but General Kosi Sintumule has returned to the committee and requested that she wants to appear because during the appearance of the head of IDEC, there are matters that have been raised with which she strongly feels that she must be given an opportunity to appear before the committee and clarify. Such ordinarily, she would have been comfortable with written questions and her providing written responses, but after the 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 head of IDEC appeared before the committee, she wrote and said there are matters that were raised, and she strongly feels she would be prejudiced if she was not going to be given an opportunity to appear before the committee. So the reason why I'm giving this background is for the members to look at the period between the 13th of January and probably the 6th of February. The technical team is suggesting that the committee must conclude hearings on the 6th of February so that they can have enough time to prepare a report before a report for the consideration of the committee, and that should happen between February 6th and probably somewhere the 15th or 16th of February, so that the committee can at least have 4 or 5 days to consider the report. So when we deal with the program, it must be in such a way that we look at the allocation of days. I mean, we look at the time that is available and how each day can be allocated. And for instance, Advocate Arendse, the committee may not have time to allocate certain witnesses 2 days. For instance, we don't think we need 2 days with General Pathan. We can work until very late if it comes to a push, but we may not allocate him 2 days. So those are the things that the committee members will look into, and free space for public submissions or any other witness that the committee feels that it's a compelling matter for that witness to appear before, I mean, between the 13th of January. I mean, not the 13th, the 14th of January and the 6th of February. And committee members must also understand that we have decided not to use Mondays. With the limited time that we have, a consideration may have to be made whether we can compromise and use Mondays. I mean, Fridays is acceptable. We can always try and push that at least by lunchtime every Friday we finish our work. Yeah, I think that is what can help us. And lastly, is that maybe second last, is that having concluded our report or towards the conclusion of our report, if there are witnesses that are implicated in our report, we may, in terms of our terms of reference, we have agreed that we will alert them and share with them the report, the part that concerns them, so that they can make their own inputs before the report is, even if they cannot change the report, but uh, the principles of natural justice militate that we should share that part of the report with them for their own observations and comments. And yeah, I think those are the issues, honorable members. If there is any other matter regarding the program, will arise as and when the program is presented, and members should be free, including matters that may be consequential. Members should be free to raise those matters. And then the committee, the last item is that the committee has requested that we write to the NPA and request a report on the charges that witness Ngabinde have spoken about against Paul O'Sullivan. And that letter was written to the NPA. The response of the NPA has been made available to the members of the committee before Christmas last year. This morning, we once again made that response available. It will be the last item. In case there is no other matter that members of the committee may want to add, it will be the last item on today's agenda, and members will talk to it and express their own views on how do they think the matter can be taken forward in case members feel that the response is inadequate. I just felt I must give that background to assist the meeting so that when we deal with the items, members know exactly the kind of the decisions that have to be made in today's meeting as we prepare for next week's appearances. And maybe one other thing on the program that we may have to look at even before you present it, Advocate Arendse, is that if we allocate General Patlani 1 day and General Kumalo 2 days, we may have to consider starting with Patlani on Wednesday. Because if we have him on Friday, it means we will not finish before 1 o'clock on Friday. But if we take him on Wednesday, we can run with him for whatever time of the night until we finish, and then have General Kumalo on Thursday and Friday. And that is what will make us to be able to finish before 1 o'clock or just after 1 on Friday, to allow members to go and attend to their social and political commitments in the communities where they are leaders. Honorable members, this is your meeting. It's in your hands. I'm going to check with yourselves before we go to the presentations. If there is any matter that members may want to raise, I see the hand of Honorable Skosana is up. I'm going to do the rotation. I will start with the ANC and check if there is any matter you want to raise. Honorable Sangoen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, I think a lot of the issues that you were covering are probably agenda items, just giving some context to them. So at this point, I wouldn't want to really go into them. But maybe just to make the point that I think when we ended the year last year, we said we should also consider the possibility of working over weekends. I'm saying that because of, amongst others, the issue that you raised about once the report being completed, you may need to afford an opportunity to people who have findings against them to answer, and we may need a little bit more time on that. But our understanding is the same as yours on General Musigiri, that it was going to be a statement. I think we also welcome General Sentumuli's request to appear before the committee, and we would want that to be scheduled in, and then agree with you on the number of days for General Pashan. One point that we do have to make, Chair, which I'm not sure if it's in the next report, but to emphasize the importance of ensuring that members of the public are afforded an opportunity to appear before the committee. We did a lot of work calling for submissions, and while we would have the condensed report, I think we should look at how we are also able to factor that in terms of the hearings. But we'll engage the detail of the other matters when the reports are presented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sangoni. Is that adequate for me to move to the next party?
Yes, Chairperson, thank you.
Okay, the MKP.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, good morning to all my colleagues. It's of a great felicity to be back again and seeing the chairperson wearing that emblem is for that beautiful car, you know. Yeah, no, not Puma, but this other one.
I think it needs its own out of committee, that one.
Yeah, really. And indeed, Chair, you said Brian Mukhosi has not paid for your accommodation this time in the Northwest. We really appreciate that.
I did not mention the name of any person.
Yeah, and yeah, but Brian did this season. Hopefully, he will tell us when he comes to the ad hoc committee. Perhaps he has paid again. Who knows? But that, Chair, the issue of I think when you mentioned names, if you remember, we agreed about the 6 people really that we agreed upon. And there was an issue, I'm not sure whether I've forgotten, you know, if my memory serves me well. I think we've mentioned in this, the former Hoc boss, Mkotedi, if I remember, Advocate Mkotedi, maybe at a later stage, I might be wrong. But I thought that we are starting on the 12th, but it looks like you say we are starting on the 14th, Chair. Can you clear that? Is it the 13th or 14th?
Wednesday, the 14th.
The 14th. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
My colleagues are there. You know, there's Nombalo and Shongwe. Thank you.
I want to check with them if they are comfortable with your input, or we proceed to the next part.
Yeah, no, I just want to greetings to everyone. Greetings to you, Chair, and compliments of the new season. I just want to raise a very quick point, and I think the legal team maybe might assist us in that regard. The point that I want to raise, Chair, is that our interviews and our work so far has been mainly focusing, or predominantly rather, on SAPs, whereas the terms of reference have a very broad scope. They give us a responsibility to probe the NPA and the judiciary. I don't know, maybe it might be because of the evidence that has been led, which precipitates the approach that we are currently applying, or the focus rather. So I just want to get some clarification on them, that what is the problem here? Why is the focus mainly on subs? Is it because of the evidence that has been led? It does not point us to a direction of investigating the NPA and the judiciary. or maybe it's other reasons which we do not know. I just want to raise that as a concern, Chair. Or maybe if when they make a presentation of public submissions, maybe that might be addressed through the submissions that have been made, which will necessitate the committee to probe matters which relate to the NPA and the judiciary as well. That is the issue that we wanted to raise at this stage. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm writing the issue down after the NPA response so that in case towards the end of the agenda items, if the matter that you raise shall have not been clarified, you can still remind me, but I'm writing it down as the last item on the agenda. Is that okay?
That's okay, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Shongwe, is there anything you want to say before I proceed to the DA?
No, compliments, Chair. Thank you and greetings to members. No, Chair, I'm covered by Honorable Nomvalo because my concern was more of there were names that we have mentioned before. And I noticed now that you've only mentioned 6. But my main concern were the names of the judges, the prosecutors, and the head of the country that we mentioned before. So as we talk about the report, it somehow closes that space of the inclusions of those names. So I was just concerned, but I think Honorable Nomvalo's input covers me on that regard. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you, Chair. All covered for now. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, the Economic Freedom Fighters. The EFF.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So I'm not used to unmuting myself. Good morning again, Chair and members and the legal team and our technical team. Chair, that perhaps give us an update, or maybe we can do it at the back of one of our hearings on the additional support that we've requested from Parliament, especially with the legal team, so we are able to do our work more efficiently and effectively. So that would be one, if we could talk to that. The second one would be that we haven't the witnesses, and maybe that would come up in the report. The witnesses we need are the members of Parliament. So we have like at least 2 where we've had Lieutenant General who had made serious allegations against them, so they would need to appear, which was Honorable Diane and Honorable Adams. So I see their names are not on the list, but I know we also haven't reached the section of members of Parliament, so maybe that would come up in the report. So if we can just be cognitive of that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Mngango.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the technical staff. Compliments of the new season to all of us. I think we are covered, the Honorable Chairperson. We are satisfied with the outline that you have actually given. Perhaps we could all. I heard that Honorable Angoni was actually suggesting that perhaps we should not shy away from considering actually working even on Saturdays. I was going to support you, Chairperson, in actually considering Mondays rather than Saturdays, considering that we are soon entering the local government election, season. Saturdays might be problematic to some of us. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay. That is a fair point. Honorable Honorable Sols.
Covered, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sols. Honorable Vessels.
I'm covered. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable James.
I'm covered, thanks you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I'm going to request you that let us help each other in this meeting so that there is no issue that falls between the cracks. We have to do our work in the name of the Parliament of the Republic, and most importantly, in the name of the people of this country. And that is why the point that we must not turn a blind eye to public submissions, even if we were going to listen to 2 or 3 of them. It makes a very important statement that the people of South Africa have a parliament that can listen to their grievances, and those grievances can be televised live, being processed by parliament, aggrieved parties appearing before parliament, before their public representatives, pleading for their leadership to help them to deal with the challenges that they face in their daily lives. Even if it was going to be 1, 2, or 3 matters, let us be seen doing that, honorable members, acting in the name of those people who may not have access to public institutions, acting in the names of those people who may not have the voice for themselves, or those people who may not have representation. We are here to act on their behalf and make sure that their aspirations are realized. So any other matter, honorable members, this committee is your committee. We must make sure that we deal with those issues. As we have said it here, that we have been allocated up until the 20th of February to conclude our work. Let's do our best, put our best legs forward, and make sure that the work of the committee succeeds. So we are going to allow the presentations to happen. All those matters that you raised, Honorable Nombalo, Honorable Matthews, Honorable Skosan, if they are not covered in the presentations that would have been made here today, those matters must not go away. You need to raise them in this meeting. Even if today's meeting may not deal with them exhaustively, we can still decide on another day. For instance, on Monday, we don't have any business except traveling. If there is any other matter that will not have been exhaustively dealt with, we can still decide to deal with it on Monday. And like Honorable Mnango has said, if it's not possible for us to meet over the weekend, to do hearings over the weekends, we can still use some part of the weekend for virtual committee meetings and deal with any other matter that committee members feel that has to be decided. Ms. Nicolette van Zyl, we are going to start with you. And then from there, when you conclude, we take Advocate Arendse. And thereafter, Parliament team will talk to the response from the NPA. And then once the presentations are concluded, I'm going to remind honorable members on how we deal with each and every item through our rotation process. Thank you so much. The presentation starts now.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable members. Thank you for the opportunity to present and compliments of the new season. Members, I promise this one will be a bit shorter than the previous one. So the purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of the public submissions received by the ad hoc committee. It highlights considerations relevant to the identification of witnesses in support of the committee's mandate. Chair, honorable members, the submissions are really valuable to the committee's work. It provides insight into patterns of alleged conduct rather than isolated incidents. It assists the committee in identifying systemic risks and governance gaps, and it supports the committee's oversight function by highlighting areas requiring further interrogation. In terms of the overview of the public submissions that was received, as members are aware, we received a substantial number of written submissions from members of the public and interested stakeholders. The recurring themes across the submissions include alleged political or external interference in policing functions, corruption and collusion involving members of law enforcement and associated institutions, weaknesses in internal oversight, disciplinary and accountability systems, also intimidation, fear of reprisal, and limited protection for whistleblowers. And lastly, it shows a diminishing public trust in the criminal justice system. These themes are fully aligned with the focus areas identified in paragraph 4 of our terms of reference. Honourable members, viewed collectively, these submissions reflect recurring patterns and concerns and that broadly corroborate elements of the testimony presented before the ad hoc committee. The honourable members, most of the contributions do not provide probative evidence directly related to the allegations under consideration. But as I stated, it does provide an overall view and corroborates the interference in the criminal justice system. As I presented in the previous presentation last year, it is recommended that submissions be referred to the relevant portfolio committees or oversight bodies with the mandate to process them further. This approach, honourable members, will ensure that all matters raised by the public remain within Parliament's accountability framework and are directed to the institutional structures best positioned to consider and resolve. Honourable members, these I indicate are the overarching submissions that raises individual grievances and not directly related to the allegations made by Lieutenant General Makunazi and also other witnesses that appeared before the committee. Honourable members, to start, I want to raise the submissions that was submissions made by civil society. These submissions provide a system-level perspective which addresses, amongst others, the broader impact on public trust in the SAPS correctional services, the NPA, the criminal justice system, the judiciary, and national security. And this is as stated in our terms of reference, paragraph 4.1.15. Substantial submissions from civil society was received from Accountability Now, and this was provided through an affidavit. Secondly, the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum, or APCOF, the Institute for Security Studies, ISS, the Dullah Omar Institute, ICJR, at the University of Cape Town, the Western Cape, apologies, Gun Free South Africa, and Mr. Ramabuela. Honorable members, these submissions should be ideally invited for oral presentations due to their importance aligned to our terms of reference. It could be considered that these presentations be allocated 40 minutes each, which will bring a total time of about 4 hours. In terms of the substantive submissions received by the committee, these are not from primary witnesses and thus could possibly not require consultations as was made with the previous witnesses. Some could be invited or should be invited for oral presentation, while others could be considered as read. Oral presentations are not prescriptive in Parliament. However, it is definitely the best practice and strongly advisable for the committee, as the chairperson stated, to have the most pertinent submissions appear before the committee for oral presentation. Honourable members, I'm going to take you through the submissions that is highlighted for possible oral presentation. So I am making the names available today, and we have received or identified 15 submissions that could be heard by the committee. The first is from Ms. Patricia Mashale. The committee has previously engaged on this particular individual. Her actual submission does not provide much detail. It is bulleted issues, so it will be good for her to flesh them out in a hearing setting. Secondly, from Brigadier Luvani. He is the former head of the Secret Service account. He was dismissed for allegedly blowing the whistle on corruption in SAPS. He made a previous protective disclosure, and as I understand, he will also be a witness at the Matlanga Commission. Then thirdly, we had a submission from Captain Ramalepe and 2 others. They allege that drug cartels are operating within the police service, or as I call it, force, and the related corruption reported by Lieutenant General Makonazi. Fourthly, we have Mr. Dotieni. He is a former SAPS crime intelligence analyst, and he alleges political interference, corruption, and manipulation within SAPS leadership. He links these issues to the death of a senior police officer in 2021. This matter has also been previously discussed by members of the committee. Thirdly, we have Lieutenant General Matludi. As members know, he was the former one of the former divisional commissioners of crime intelligence. Through his attorney, he requested an opportunity to respond to allegations made against him during the ad hoc committee's hearings. Then next we have a submission from Mr. Mlandlu. And for this, we possibly need a consultation. Through his attorney, he submitted an affidavit and substantial evidence bundle, including a sworn statement and supporting documents. Moving forward, honorable members, we have a submission from Mr. Masukukwa. He alleges abuse of SAP's Crime Intelligence Secret Fund and the misuse of state resources. In the covert investigation of the Pala farm robbery, implicating the President, the Minister of Police, and senior SAPS officials. It's a quite detailed submission and could be heard by the committee. Then we have a submission from Mr. Poro. He accuses senior NPA and IDEC officials of abuse of power, racism, and unlawful asset seizures, stating that he and his family was humiliated and impoverished. Ninthly, honorable chair and members, we have a submission from Mr. Chetty. He reports multiple arrests and asset freezes related to fraud and money laundering allegations, claiming abuse of the criminal justice system. Honorable members, Mr. Chetty also had a recent media report or media article that was published, which can be, apologies, can be made available to the committee, in which he details his submission to the ad hoc committee. We have an anonymous submission. This can be either read or heard through the appropriate channels, like an in-camera appearance. The person alleges systemic corruption, extortion, nepotism, and abuse of power within the SAPS, implicating serious officers and external associates. He or she claims interference in investigations, the manipulation of disciplinary processes, obstruction of IPID inquiries, and protection of criminal activities. He also requests intervention and protection for whistleblowers. We also had a submission from Advocate Maremi. He alleges that Lieutenant General Makunalsi lied under oath regarding the handling of a fraud and corruption case against Lieutenant General Mdluli, thus misleading the ad hoc committee's inquiry and the public. He seeks to clarify that the Mdluli matter was solely about vehicle transactions and unrelated to broader allegations of corruption. Advocate Maremi submitted a detailed affidavit. So next we have a submission from Dr. Rolls. It is suggested that this submission be read. He alleges to have evidence of involvement of police and judiciary in mass criminal activities. He reports multiple arrests and asset freezes related to fraud and money laundering allegations, claiming abuse of the criminal justice system. However, this can also be heard as an oral presentation. Next, we have a submission from Advocate Makwabela. He alleges, or his submission revolves around the lack of protection to whistleblowers in the SAPS, He also alleges factions in SAPS leading to unfair promotions and a wide abuse of the disciplinary processes in SAPS. We also had a substantive submission from Mr. Mia. He alleges a conspiracy involving SAPS, the NPA, and the judiciary to manufacture evidence and secure wrongful convictions. However, members should note that he is currently incarcerated, and caution should be noted regarding Parliament's involvement in criminal convictions. Lastly, honourable members, we have a submission from Honourable Mr. Makogope, and this can also be read. However, it does provide a detailed account of alleged investigative failures, intimidation, and a lack of protection experienced by municipal oversight office bearer following the referral of a corruption matters to SAPS. While the municipal governance aspect fall outside the committee's mandate, the submission has value in illustrating systemic weaknesses in SAPS investigations, follow-through, and whistleblower protection, and is considered as corroborative contextual evidence. Honourable members, if the committee could, at a minimum, allocate 40 minutes per individual for oral presentations. This can be concluded over 1 or 2 days. Moving on, honourable members, I just want to highlight regarding anonymous submissions and confidential documentation. We received 3 anonymous submissions, of which one was assessed as having high probative value. One of the the second anonymous submission was based primarily on hearsay, while the other related to a reported political killing and included claims of threats linked to anti-corruption activities and exposure thereto. Honourable members, this is a good example of a submission that could be referred to the police for investigations regarding the threat to the submitter's life, and also to have a report on the investigation that was conducted by SAPS on the reported political killing. We received no confidential or classified documents through the public participation process. Matters falling within the mandate of the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence will be referred accordingly. For instance, we have received a substantial submission from Mr. Painter alleging misuse of crime intelligence function. However, these allegations are not directly linked or aligned to the allegations made by Lieutenant General Makunazi, but again, it points to misuse of state resources, especially within the crime intelligence section of the police or division. Then, honourable members, we received quite a substantial number of submissions from former and serving SAPS members who report grievances related to unfair dismissals, irregular disciplinary action, promotions, and re-enlistment or reservist absorption. Honourable members, while these matters raise legitimate concerns about perceived labour practices within the SAPS and other government departments, Parliament's direct intervention in individual labour disputes is not advisable. These individual disputes fall within the judiciary jurisdiction of statutory labor dispute resolution mechanisms, such as the triple SBC, the CCMA and labor courts. However, the recurring patterns raised by the submissions remain important, and it points to a broader organizational concerns, notably the re-enlistment process, communication and feedback. That's quite a significant area within the SAPS. Limited pathways for community policing forum, CPF members and reservists to be absorbed into the SAPS as permanent members, ongoing systemic challenges in SAPS human resource management and allocation, and concerns regarding the application of disciplinary regulations, including allegations of the misuse of the expeditious dismissal process. Honorable members, just to note, the Portfolio Committee on Police have been engaged quite significantly in these matters, labor-related matters, as part of our strategic and policy-orientated basis on mandate. Honorable members, in conclusion, just to draw your attention, based on the public submissions, we are required to draft and adopt a public participation report, which will be published in the ATC for noting by the National Assembly. So it's not for consideration, only for noting. The public participation report will be very concise and factual in nature. It will not include the detailed submissions that was made. It will basically be based on the overarching themes that was identified through the public participation process. It will also then naturally also include the submissions that was heard for oral presentation, and the report will be prepared and adopted separately from the committee's final report, and will be drafted for adoption once the public participation process has been concluded. Thank you, honorable members. That concludes my presentation.
Ngola is not supposed to take over.
I didn't know the chair has disappeared. I think
January 8th.
I think let's take the second presentation, honorable members. We'll locate the chair. Advocate Arensa, are you doing the second presentation?
Honorable Nola, yes, I don't know whether, can I just ascertain whether the report that we were required to table, in fact, already on the 7th or 8th of December, which we did, has been made available to you. We were required to indicate a schedule of witnesses, amongst other things. I think it has been resubmitted to you.
Okay. Okay, can you hold on?
Yeah.
Mr. Ramano, did you share the report to members? Was the report shared with the members?
The report was shared with the members.
Thank you so much.
I've written it now.
Thank you so much. You can proceed, Advocate Arens.
Thank you. We were guided by the witnesses. The Honourable Committee indicated we should consult with and prepare statements for the second part of these hearings, and they appear on the screen. We met in person with Lieutenant General Kumalo, Lieutenant General Pashlani, Deputy Chief Julius Mkhonazi, and Robert McBride, and we have interacted by way of email with Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, who has given to us a draft statement, which we will consult on Sunday to adjust it to accord with the terms of reference of the Honourable Committee. Mr. Makhotsi, we scheduled for Monday in an online meeting. You may or may not be aware that Mr. Makhotsi had either to indicated that he had security concerns, and these were between the time available in late December and now. They could not be addressed by Parliament. So we have agreed to meet with him and his lawyer online on Monday. As regards his appearance, whether physical or online, that will depend on him and the committee, I suppose. We had also interacted after this draft report was submitted on 7-8 December with the witnesses that I've indicated. We interacted with both with them personally and with their lawyers. Obviously, with the time of the year, there were difficulties with that, but I think we had worked up to about the 18th or 20th of December in working with these witnesses, having the consultations that we had with them, what's the word? The recordings, having that transcribed, sorry, and then preparing draft statements which have been exchanged. We are in a position to make the statements of Lieutenant General Kumalo and Lieutenant General Pashlani available by the end of this week. Pashlani probably by Saturday. So we would be in a position to proceed with their evidence as now indicated on the 14th, 15th, and 16th next week. The following week, we scheduled Mr. McBride and Mr. Mkhonazi, and the following week, O'Sullivan, who will be interviewed online. I think he's in London at the moment and had indicated that he'll only be back in the country, I think, after February. And besides, he had also indicated grave concerns about appearing in person because of the security situation. We had not engaged in the response to the question raised by Honourable Nomvalo. As regards the NPA, we had, of course, already interviewed the National Director of Public, or the former now National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Batoy, We had also interviewed Anthea Johnson, the head of IDAC. We had not engaged with any other officials, prosecutors, or anyone else at the NPA. As far as the judiciary is concerned, we had not identified any member of the judiciary to interview. And as far as my memory serves, I don't think the Honourable Committee had done so either. If identified, we'll obviously approach either such an official or judge or former judge if indicated. Yes, the emphasis has been somewhat on the SAPS because of the terms of reference focuses mainly on the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkonazi on the 6th of July last year, and that's been the focus of our work. As regards the presentation made by Nicolette, a number of these submissions had originally been directed to us, but we sent them on to the parliamentary technical team. They had sifted through, I'm sure, a couple of hundred, if not 1,000 public submissions, and Nicolette has provided the summary. We will engage with Nicolette and her team on these submissions. I don't have any comment on her summary that 15 or so possible oral presentations be made to the Honourable Committee, but I leave that within your discretion. Otherwise, Acting Chair, Honourable Chair, we are on track to present the evidence of let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 witnesses, and we'll see how it goes with Mr. Mogotsi on Monday if he survives January 8th. Thank you, Acting Chair.
But the last part, Senior Counsel. Thank you very much, Senior Counsel. I think we must commend the work you and your team has done in terms of consultations. 5 out of 6 is a sterling job. It does seem like the chair is not yet back, so we members were going to rotate as we have made it our tradition. And we're going to deal with both reports on public participation and on the timetable and the work done in terms of consulting the witnesses. And we must make consideration on the time frames and the extension that we've been given and what needs to be done and how do we prioritize, reprioritize, and all of that. So we're going to start with the ANC, the Honorable Sangoni.
Honorable Ngola, may I interject just briefly?
Yes.
May I request that Advocate Mkhize perhaps introduce herself briefly, and also that I will stay on, but if both Advocate Mkhize and Advocate Mogotsi be excused, because we do have some consultations planned now for this afternoon with some witnesses. Thank you.
That's allowed, Senior Counsel. Advocate Mkhize, can you please shortly or briefly introduce yourself to the committee?
Good afternoon, honourable members.
as Arendse SD has.
With your video on, please.
Oh, with my video on, okay. Okay, I'm not sure if it's on.
It's on, but with issues.
Oh, I have no idea what is happening.
Kodwa mamkhize nokufika Nkosi yami. Sawubona.
Sanibonani. I don't, oh, it's picking up on my phone. Just, I'm really sorry, apologies about that. Let's switch it off. Okay. There you go.
Icathulo sizibonile. Icathulo zona sizibonile.
Good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Bongiwe Mkhize, and I am a member of the Johannesburg Bar. I'm based at Group 621, and it is an honor for me to join this team, the legal team, as well as to work with you as the committee. So, ngiyaxolisa ngecathulo evelile.
Thank you very much, Advocate Mkhize. I think the shoes issue is not really an issue. It was just on a lighter note. We welcome you officially to the committee work. But just to brief you that here we work, there is no time for knocking off. We even knock off at 1 a.m. in the morning. So you must prepare yourself for such kind of an extensive kind of work. Thank you so much. Honorable Samuel. We're back to rotation.
Honorable Acting Chair, may they be excused?
Yes, they can be excused to do their work. It's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Sangoni, it's your time now for rotation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and let me echo your welcome to Advocate Mkhize. We can tell that she's a hard-working young woman. One of the shoes were off, so she's used to this late nights and things of that nature. Honorable Acting Chair, thank you so much. Let me thank the presentations that have been meticulously prepared for the committee, both by Ms. Nicolette as well as Advocate Arendse. Maybe I will start off on behalf of the ANC on some of the presentations, and then my colleagues will come in. On the issue of the public submissions, we've noted that we haven't had sight of the original submissions, but we do accept the report as presented by the Parliamentary Research Unit. We accept the bona fides of those submissions as summarized. We have also noted the recommendations that have been made, especially the ones of the civil society, and we request firstly that those original submissions be shared with members. When it comes to the individual submissions, there again, we're requesting the original submission documents, but maybe just to highlight a few issues. I don't know, members will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the issue of Ms. Patricia Mashale, we had discussed it when we were at Hoshimamburu, and the view of the committee was that it would not be necessary to call her at that point. Granted, this was based on the evidence that was before us, which was largely reference to her in relation to social media posts. If there's a feeling that there's been new substantive information that has since been brought, and that decision must be reviewed, we won't have a problem with it. But we had thought that we had dispensed with the issue of Ms. Patricia Mashale. So we're not really supporting her being heard, unless, as I said, there's new information that has come through. But even then, Ms. Nicolette did say that her submission is bullet points, so we're not sure about that. Chair, we also want to make a suggestion that where allegations or accusations are being made against individuals, it must be accompanied by a sworn statement before that is heard. And this is really to protect our work, from challenge. I know that a sworn statement is not necessarily a prerequisite for appearing before Parliament. But in such cases, we would think that whomever is making the accusation should be willing to depose an affidavit to that effect. And if necessary, anybody who has accusations being leveled against them should be afforded an opportunity to respond or write a reply. We accept the list that has been provided of the other 14 individuals who made submissions. Amongst them, I remember there was Advocate Mkhwebi, General Mdluli, and a number of other individuals, Dr. Ross and so forth. We think those should be heard, and the committee should try and make the time available to hear those submissions together with the civil society. When we went through the submission, chairperson, as the ANC, we felt that there were areas which we do have the numbers which we can pass through to the committee staff, but there were submissions that were dealing with matters of organized crime, crime intelligence failures, and I'm not sure if the ones that are proposed directly align to the submission numbers as we had captured them. So I will share those submission numbers. Now, they are not many, but we believe that if they were to be evidenced, they firstly provide collaborative evidence to some of the things that we've been hearing, but that they're so serious in nature that they should be afforded an opportunity to be heard. So I will submit that. And then finally, on the public submissions, chairperson, where there are allegations of victimization or a failure in whistleblower protection, we think that we must be able to prioritize those. I think it's common cause that our laws and really our entire system of dealing with whistleblower protection is not sufficient, and we may want to hear from members of the public who have such issues that they would want to bring to the attention of Parliament. I think, let me stop there on the public submissions, Chair, but we support the recommendations that some of these matters must be referred to the relevant portfolio committees as well, specifically the portfolio committee on police, on matters that relate to the subs. Chair, our understanding at this point, and perhaps other honourable members will speak to the matter. I don't think that there was a intentional sidelining or undermining or